Hi there, Sarah Zolecki. All right, so we are going to talk about working from home while raising kids and juggling it all, right? Like, how do you actually do that? So today's going to be some really great tidbits, just some really simple tips that I do for building a business. For those of you that I have not had a chance to meet, I've been in the profession 25 years. I have two little kids, a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. I'm blessed to be able to build this business side by side with my husband, Tony. And we've actually been building a company for the last 9 years together. So it's been really, really cool. So I love guys working with kids, but I will tell you, I had to figure out how do I actually make it work, right? Because here's the thing, like there's really two options. Like option A would be like, hey, find some nanny and hire him or her out. And you can obviously then build a business, like typical 40 hours a week, what have you, right? Or second one is you got to figure out how do I actually work this in the pockets of my life while I'm raising kids. And I actually chose the latter, right? So that's you. This video is going to give you some great tips on how to do that. So I actually jotted down some notes, just some stuff that I think has really helped serve me over the years. And the very first thing that I want to encourage you guys to do is number one, plan your week. Planning your week is super important. Some of you guys that maybe have a little bit older kids, maybe some of your kids are in sports or different academics and you have to plan things. Well, guess what? Planning your work is exactly the same. And so I encourage you, find some really cool planner that you love, whether it be online or a physical form, and start planning your week. I like to plan my stuff, everything on Sunday night. Gives me a chance to, after the kids are in bed, I can kind of decompress a little bit and talk about what's happening in my week, and also making sure everything is scheduled out, right? And especially for those of us, most of us are working this business part-time, right? We're working at maybe 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day in the midst of everything else. That I tell people, if you don't schedule it, it's not going to happen. And so planning your week as far as like, what are the things that you need to do each week that kind of keep you close to the fire in your business? Maybe there's a team Zoom, maybe you're doing power hours, right? Maybe there's different things that you're doing to stay connected. Obviously, make sure those are always in your calendar every week. And then in addition to that, having, time scheduled out with maybe where you're going to focus on relationship building. Maybe one time is going to be specifically on follow-up. Maybe another time is specifically on maybe doing 3-way chats, right? So whatever that looks like, you need to make sure that it's mapped out, because if it is, you're just going to stay a lot more organized and it's going to help you stay on task. So tip 1 for a stay-at-home mom is you got to plan your week, and I like to plan mine on Sunday. Okay. So tip 2 is time blocking. Time blocking. Oh my gosh, guys, this saved me. People ask me all the time if I have like a complete set schedule, and I do my best to have it, but I will tell you, especially as a mom, is that it's important to have a plan, but also you got to be flexible in that plan, right? Because things come up, things change, whatever it may be. I've learned how to be just super adaptable and flexible with everything, and just not let it kind of like throw me off track or that type of thing. So, what I like to do with my time blocking is you got to figure out the time block that works for you. Okay. So everybody's time block is a little bit different. Some of us, we can do, we can sit down and work our business at an hour at a time. Some of us can do 45 minutes. Some of us can do 30. Some of us like to do it in 15, right? And I tell people, whatever you feel that you can do, that in that time block, the only thing that you're doing are things that are moving your business forward. So what does that look like? That looks like, we also call it IPAs, right? Income producing activities. So it's reach outs, it's making connections, it's inviting people to take a look at your business. Maybe it's sharing about your product or service. Maybe you're in a 3-way chat with yourself and someone else and you're answering questions. Maybe it's getting someone enrolled in your business to promote your business, or maybe it's enrolling someone as a new customer, right? So those are the things that are what I call IPAs, right? So in that time block, that is all that you're doing. And one of my mentors, he shared with me, he's like, man, you have got to make sure that in that time, it's super sacred. Like all distractions are equal. And we all know, right? We're at home. If we're working from home, it is so easy to get distracted, right? Maybe it is the doorbell is ringing. Maybe it's, oh my gosh, I need to put another load of laundry in, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. And so, making sure that, you just kind of have your blinders on and it's just that time only, right? Not anything else, just that time. And one thing that I like to do is, for me, my time blocks that I feel like I'm really effective in is 15 to 30 minute time blocks. Now, I know some of you are, you come from maybe a different school where it needs to be longer or what have you, but I love it. I can jam because guys, like if you are working your business on social media, you can easily do 5 voice messages to 5 different people that are under 60 seconds each in 5 minutes. Right? That's already 5 things that you can check off with your IPA, right? So I just think that, for me, I found that in 15-minute, 30-minute, time blocks, my goodness, I get a lot done then. And then I might take a break, right? And then I'll come back. Or if I'm on a roll, sometimes I'll keep on moving, right? It just won't be just like 15 to 30 minutes. If I'm on a roll, maybe, and I've got some more time, then I'll bump it up to 45 or I'll bump it up to an hour, just depending. But let's face it, sometimes with my kids, when they were younger, it just depended. Sometimes I really only had that 15 minutes before there was a meltdown in the house, before something crazy was happening, right? Before somebody was getting into something. And so for me, I just found that, figure out what works for your time blocks, right? And maybe it's around a nap for your kids. Maybe it's around in the morning. Maybe they go to if they go to preschool in the morning, then you can work, you got to figure out what's going to work for you to allow you to be effective. And I think the third tip that I want to give you that kind of leads into that is you got to give yourself some grace, right? What does that mean? That means that you're going to have some days that are incredible, and you're also going to have some days that are not that great. And just understand that every day you can press a redo. Every day it's a fresh new day to have a good day, right? I mean, I remember, early on when my kids were super little, sometimes there were days that like I got absolutely nothing done, right? I know some of you guys watching can relate to that, and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got nothing done. And also there was times that my kids were kind of crazy, and it was just kind of one of those days in our house where I was like, you know what? The only thing good that can happen right now is like everybody needs to go to bed, including me, and we need to start over in the morning, right? And so just give yourself some grace. Know that some of the days you're going to be super crazy productive, and then there's other days that you're not, and you don't need to beat yourself up about it. Just know like that's part of the business. That's part of creating your story. I just found for me, I just kind of like got back on the horse, and the next day I just did what I could do. Right. And I just, for me, every night when I went to bed, I just laid my head down and I just said, you know what? Did you do everything you possibly could do today to move your business forward, right? Whatever that looked like. And if the answer was yes, well, then I did a good job, right? And then I just kept on going. And so I think you've got to make sure, especially as a mom, you got to give yourself some grace. You got to cut yourself some slack as you're building this business. And I think too, don't be afraid to do it messy. If I showed you right now with this camera, you'd be like, oh my goodness, because it's messy around here right now. It's messy and it's okay. And it's not done perfect. Even this video isn't that perfect. I just press record and I'm talking to you right now. So be willing to just kind of do it messy and just go through the motions of building this business, right? Your IPAs and focusing on those things. And people can relate to that too. People love that it's not perfect. They love that it doesn't have to be like so crazy organized. I mean, granted, do I plan my week? Yes. Is it sometimes still a little messy? Yes. Do I do time blocking and sometimes it doesn't work out that right, or that well as I want it to be? Yes. But I just keep on going. Do I give then myself some grace? Yes. Right? You see how it's kind of this cycle of things. And then the last thing I want to encourage you guys to do, and this didn't happen for me right away, but if you do have the ability to do it, create a workspace for you where you can work your business. Maybe it is at your kitchen table. Maybe it's just a little table in the side corner of a room somewhere, right? But, have something that's kind of yours where you can sit down, you can do your work, you can get organized a little bit to the best of your ability. I just found that having a workspace for me it was awesome because it just allowed me to be really productive, and I was kind of in my zone then, right? So I encourage you guys, those 4 tips, right? Plan your week if you can. Sunday nights, I love to do it. Time blocking, focus on that. What does that look like for you, right? That's between you and you, right? You got to decide that. Number 3, give yourself some grace, right? Cut yourself some slack building this business as a mom. And then number 4 is create a workspace if you're able to do so. Again, it doesn't have to be a big office or a separate room or what have you, but give yourself a space, right, where you can go out and build. So guys, if you got some great information out of this, I encourage you to share it out like crazy. If you have more questions on tips with working from home and kind of just making it happen, feel free to DM me on Instagram. My handle is just Sarah Zolecki. You also can connect with me on the other social media platforms as well. So until then, guys, have a fantastic one, and we'll talk to you soon.